We know the digital age has brought a whole new set of challenges for us as parents. As you guys know, the internet didn't even exist when most of us were kids. So we grew up, and internet didn't show up for me until, my early high school years. And even then it was like AOL, super slow. You weren't able to do much with it. It evolved, and obviously I was evolving with it, but I didn't grow up with it and have like a cell phone in my pocket. Our kids are growing up in a world where the internet is an integral part of their lives. And that comes with the responsibility of helping them navigate through online gaming and ensuring their internet safety. These kids these days, a lot of them are getting cell phones at like 6, 8. We personally think once the kid's in middle school, it's kind of hard this day and age to not have a cell phone in middle school. And so then you're carrying around internet access everywhere you go. And this is something that we never even would have thought of as kids. We were lucky to be able to carry around a map or a backpack with some snacks in it or something as kids. Hey there, fellow parents. Welcome to Parents Guide to the World. In today's comprehensive video, we're going to tackle several games like Minecraft, Among Us, League of Legends, Fortnight, Roblox. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to provide you with essential information on cyberbullying, child internet safety, and safe games that kids can play. First, let's tackle cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is a form of bullying that occurs through digital media. This could be social media, this could be a game, online games, your phone, anything like that, where it's important to help you identify as a parent what cyberbullying is. Like I said, once again, we didn't have any cyberbullying when we were kids. It just didn't exist. Also, we're going to talk about your role as parents and what you can do to help navigate the online world and make it safer for your kids. To prevent cyberbullying, we need to make sure that you have open communication. Talking to your kids is one of the most important things because you're not going to be able to find out everything unless you talk to them. Okay? You want to talk to them about their online experiences, what they go through, the good and the bad. Try to be as open with them as you can. Something else that I should probably teach myself a little bit more, but also we should make sure we're teaching our kids, is we want to make sure that we think about something before we post it. We don't want to just post something and have it out there without thinking about what we're posting. This includes a lot of different things. We don't want to just post personal information. Here's just an example. If you're going to go on vacation, you don't necessarily want to post immediately that you're going on vacation. You may want to delay that a couple days so that nobody knows that you're out there on vacation. Even your kids doing that can leave your place vulnerable, and you don't want to leave your place vulnerable when you're not there. And so that's just a simple form of it, but it could be even worse than that. They could have somebody taking advantage of them online, and we don't want to think about the horrible things that can happen there, which is why we need to be proactive and safe. Make sure you know where they're at. Make sure you know the platforms. Make sure you know the social media they're on. You want to make sure you're as familiarized with it as you can, because if you're not, then they can find loopholes or things to hide from you, etc. And we don't want that kind of communication with our children. We want to make sure that we have an open, honest communication with them because there's just too many things on the internet to leave to question. We can't just have them out there without any guidance. At the same time, we do have kind of another problem, is we need to respect our children's privacy online as well. So this is a very difficult tightrope to walk, essentially, right? So that's why we're going to try to help you out as much as we can in this podcast video. One thing you can do as a parent is to monitor their usage. That might mean using an app to help you, your router. There's several different ways to monitor it. When I say monitor, I don't always mean just like spying them that way. I mean, come in, look over their shoulders, ask them what they're doing. Depending on the age, you spend more time with them online and next to them than you do as they get older, right? Talking to our daughter is usually the best way to monitor this stuff. She's usually going to tell us honestly. At the same time, I do have some programs on my router that are just built in that let me see what the usage is like, and I could actually block websites from there if I really wanted to. So I can monitor what's going on if I want to be like a spy, but I don't usually go and do anything like that unless there's a red flag that makes me need to look into what was going on. If that's the case, then we handle it specifically for that case and we talk about it. We don't want to just leave these things out there with no explanation. We don't want to have these kinds of things just lingering over one of our children. Just like everything, it's better to be educated. It's better to have open communication with your children. Now, it's also important to teach your children, which is why I recommend spending some time next to them while you're browsing the internet. There's some behaviors that they can learn from you, and maybe you can even learn from them. Now, it's important to take action on cyberbullying. A lot of people might think that it's okay to ignore it, but if you ignore it, then nobody's ever going to fix the problem. Not only are you going to teach your children to report online behavior, make sure they understand how to take action if they're targeted, or even if somebody they know is targeted. It's important to make sure that we're all watching these experiences and making sure we do whatever we can. Also, you want to make sure you educate them about personal information. You want to make sure that that's all protected with super strong passwords. You don't want them just having all that information online where somebody could get it. At the very least, they're going to use it for, advertising campaigns or something. But at the worst, it could be, tricking your kids into thinking that you're one of their relatives or something with some of the personal information. The most important thing is to talk to your children about the importance of strangers online. Strangers online may seem like your friend, and they can be, but they're not always. We find, especially for younger children and whatnot, it's best to only have them playing with their friends or, you as parents. If you're going to have them out there in the open world, then you probably want to disable some of the chats and voice chats, and we're going to get into that a little bit more with some of the most popular games. As part of our efforts as parents to ensure your child's internet safety, consider using parental control software like I mentioned before. There's a lot that's built into the devices, like I know iPhones have a huge suite of protections. Most of the Android phones do as well. These tools can help monitor your child's activity and limit their screen time, also restricting age-appropriate content as well. Remember, understanding cyberbullying and safety online for your children is key. All right, now that you have a good understanding about what cyberbullying is, we want to make sure that we talk to you about some specific games. Okay, as parents, we don't always understand what they're doing, and this will help educate you on some of the most popular games out there and how to make those games slightly safer. We're going to start out with Minecraft, and Minecraft can be a hugely exciting game for your kids and also can be very, very safe. There are a few things you do need to watch out for though. Now, what is Minecraft? Most of you hopefully know, but a lot of you probably don't. Honestly, as a parent, I couldn't keep up with this stuff unless I was really right there with them, and there's new things every day that I don't even know about. What Minecraft is a hugely popular game where all the players can mine resources. Think of it kind of like a survival game based on blocks of voxels, and all of those kind of look retro, like Mario or something, if that was, still pixelated running around. So you guys have probably seen the swords that look like that stuff, a bunch of blocks put together, the people. Just kind of keep that in mind. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about Minecraft. There is so much you can do. I'm not even going to scratch the surface here today. This is just going to be a quick overview, kind of a bird's eye view. I do recommend you go in and check out any of these topics more. There are two main modes for Minecraft: survival and creative. Now, survival is just like what it sounds. You have to gather food, resources to build anything that you want. You're fending off monsters. It's very much like a survival game in many of these situations you might see as adults playing, Daisy or any of that kind of stuff. Essentially, you're doing all the survival. It's usually like a challenge. Some people are really, really good at it and they start building amazing things. But if you want to build more amazing things, that's usually where you get into the second play mode, and that would be creative. Creative is amazing because you basically have unlimited resources. So you can build anything that you can think of. The stuff that people have built is just insane. In this mode, in creative mode, they don't have to worry about the monsters or any of that kind of stuff being damaged. They can build crazy, crazy things. I know at one point somebody even built like an actual hard drive out of all the different components of different Minecraft stuff. Now, it couldn't store a lot of data, but that's insane. Like, if you could actually see how this worked, you'd understand what I mean. So many other things have been built. If you go to our friends at planetminecraft.com, they've got all kinds of different maps, all kinds of different mods that were made. Such a great community that you can check out. Where is Minecraft available? Pretty much everywhere. It's available on PC, which is where it started. It's available on console, mobile devices, and each platform has slightly different controls, features, and whatnot, but the core gameplay remains the same across all the versions. If you are interested in learning more about Minecraft, like I mentioned before, definitely check out planetminecraft.com. They have a gigantic forum with years and years of information and knowledge and tons of mods, skins, but it's a great community and they're super supportive of each other. And not just that, they show you some of the most amazing things that they can build. That place has been running for a long time now and I don't see it stopping ever. We are going to go over a few ways that you can help make this game a little safer. Okay, so Minecraft can be pretty safe, especially if you have the educational version, which is a whole nother version that exists. Now, if you want to make the regular game safe, go ahead and launch the settings. Once you launch the settings, go to privacy and online safety, and then you can set the different restrictions here based off, age and everything like that. Now, you can also disable chat options here to limit communication to only the friends list. So this is a way to really lock this game down and really take away any risk that I can think of, with the exception of some stuff that we may never know about as parents until we actually talk to our kids and find out. I recommend that your kids play with just friends and family if possible, especially if they're younger. That way they'll have a better experience, they won't have to even experience cyberbullying, and they'll get a good presence and understanding before you let them out there into the open internet. It's like letting them into the ocean. Think about it that way. You can keep them in a kiddie pool, you can keep them in a pond, and you can move them to a lake, and then it's just wide open ocean. And then once they're out there, good luck keeping track of them. It's almost impossible once they're out there completely. Just like all these other games, We definitely want to make sure that if your child does have cyberbullying happening, they make sure to report it. If they see anyone else cyberbullying anyone, make sure they report that as well. The only way these things will get taken care of and fixed is to report the bad stuff. I hate to have somebody be a tattletale, but online, it's the only way you can really handle things. By staying engaged in your child's game activities and discussing them, you can foster a better environment for them, and it's going to be much more fun for you as a family to play with them. And for a recap of the Minecraft basics, go ahead and, like I said, just skip around this video and go back for a little bit, okay? You're in no hurry to watch this. I'm going to go through a bunch of games here. Let's talk about Among Us. So most of you, once again, may know this game. You may have at least seen reference to it, but essentially it's a very simple game. It does have some animated violence, so maybe not suited for the youngest kids, but it's a party game. And you can play with just family, you can play with a bunch of different people. Essentially you have two roles. You're either working as a crewmate, trying to fix things on the ship and accomplish goals before the imposter can kill everyone. And I know it sounds horrible, kill everyone, and it does have violence, but it's just like I said, it's a very pixelated, like, little bone image. So for some people, maybe it's a bigger deal. I'm not gonna take that away from some people, but in my personal opinion, I'd say it's safe for almost any age where they can understand that that's not a real thing. So, you know, it's probably 12 and up's probably safe, but I'm not going to say that. It depends on your kid. In some families, you know, you could probably have a 6 or 8 year old playing it without a problem. It's up to you to decide these things, but there's guidelines, right? So those guidelines definitely help. Now, this game, one thing about it is it does focus on communication. So that's part of why this one is really important to play with friends and family, because this one is going to be the one that you basically are going to have to talk to people, right? So it's best to talk to, once again, friends and family. If you start talking to a bunch of strangers, these games are usually safe-ish, but they do get a little weird. I've definitely been in a few games that didn't make sense and did concern me a little bit, out in the public ones. So once again, try to play with friends and family if possible, and if not, here's some things that you can do to make it safe. Go ahead and launch the game and log into your child. Once you're there, navigate to the settings and set the appropriate age restrictions. I know I sound like a broken record. It's pretty much the same, you know, as the last thing we did. You can also disable chat here, or you can select quick chat only, which will limit your child's communication with others. Once again, teach your child to report any cyberbullying that they have within this game, or that they see, you know, affecting somebody else. I do think that this is especially one of those games that it's more fun with friends and family, to be honest. Next, let's explore League of Legends. This is a super popular multiplayer online battle arena, or a MOBA. Now, the idea here is that players control mostly against each other, but you can play against bots, different champions that they release constantly. These champions have different abilities, and when they're fighting against each other, and it's pretty cool how many abilities they have, because they start out with just a very simple set of abilities, but there's so many characters, and there's so many different ways you can play each of these characters, because there's gear. And so gear you buy, which lets you set your character apart. You can make a character more tanky or more damage, etc. And these games are typically going to be 5 versus 5, and this is a very competitive game. So you can play, like I said, as simple as playing against 5 AI on beginner all the way up to intermediate. Intermediate isn't even that hard usually, but it's definitely good practice. And then playing against regular people in random groups, and then this stuff gets so serious that they actually have competitive leagues for this. They have tournaments for it. These teams train like a sports team. It's kind of insane to see the level of dedication that goes into some of these players playing this League of Legends game. Like I said, it's been out forever. One cool thing about League of Legends is it's free. Now, free is kind of tricky because you can play League of Legends free, you can use any of the characters that they give you, and those characters revolve every week. However, you can also buy characters. Now, this doesn't give you really any cheat or any way to like be way better than other people, but it does allow you to like pick a character and really master it. However, as you play more and more, you'll have different challenges that will reward you, and it will be a slow build up, but you can unlock characters here and there. And so that way, every couple weeks, depending on how much you play, you can get another character unlocked, etc. That way you can play through the free ones, and when you play through all the free ones, you'll have a couple others that you can unlock. One other thing is, I don't, like I said, recommend normally spending money, but they do have a few bundles, and those couple bundles give you a ton of characters for a fairly low amount of money. So definitely look into those kind of options before you start spending, all your money on one character or all your reward points, etc. Now, the strategies that go into this game are just insane. There are some people who are just amazing at this game. So it's one of those games that the skill cap can be really, really high, but the barrier to entry is actually fairly low. Your teammates can kind of make up for you if you're horrible, and in the end is just playing games, right? They're a couple 15 minutes, 30 minutes typically, somewhere in that range, and you're gonna win or lose. It's that simple. The other team might give up. If that's what happens, then you just play another game. All right, now this is the hard part of League of Legends. It is a free game, and you can report cyberbullying, and they do stuff about it, don't get me wrong. However, I think the most toxic part of the entire game is the all chat lately, and that will help a lot. However, then you might lose strategies that your teammates are saying. So this is one of those games that you kind of have to make a decision. You're either going to kind of play it casually or start playing it competitively. If you are going to play it competitively, then you need to kind of leave all chat on, or even better, you get on voice communication with your team, right? But for casual stuff, I would say most of your kids, you can just leave all chat off. They might be getting yelled at, but they won't know. So it won't even be like a factor to them because cyberbullying just won't exist. Now, the only other way that could really mess with somebody is it does kind of hurt if you have a team of 5 and one person just gives up or disconnects or just stops playing, because now you have 4 versus 5, so it's obviously much more of a challenge. So if you do really frustrate somebody, I guess they could do that. Most people want to finish a game, or most people want to finish a game they think they're going to be able to win, rather. All right, now back to how to make this game safer. Just like a lot of these games, we're going to log into your child's account, okay, because there's going to be a unique login for it. We're going to go to settings, and we want to make sure we set the appropriate restrictions for your child. Also, you can disable chat options from here, or limit communications to only friends. You want to make sure your child knows how to use mute and the report features to handle any toxic players, because this game does unfortunately have a lot of toxic players because it has a huge base of people that play it. Now, one other thing you want to talk about with League of Legends, which is a little different than some of these other games, is you do want to talk to your child about their experiences, emphasizing really a lot about sportsmanship and positive communication with your teammates, because once again, this is a team game. There's very few modes of this game that you really are playing like solo. You're really always playing with a team. And that's why League of Legends is such a fun game, but you really need to know these tips as a parent. Fortnite has taken the world by storm, and I would say it's probably becoming one of the most popular games, and they're really building a lot into it. It's based off the Unreal Engine, so because of that, they've got access to just so much game engine stuff and so many assets, etc., because they're essentially building Fortnite very much as a game demo almost. You know, it is a game, don't get me wrong, but it's a demo of their engine. And so it's showing everyone else what the Unreal Engine can do, which is an incredible gaming engine. It makes gaming just seem so realistic in a lot of these situations, and it's so ahead of its time as far as I'm concerned, but it also makes it easier to develop games. And so this Unreal Engine stuff is a whole nother thing to look at. Now, that graphical engine, that's what they use in Fortnite. Now, what is Fortnite exactly if you don't know? It is another kind of grand royal battle arena. It's very popular that people are playing against each other, and think of it as, you know, a shooter. They're shooting at each other. It is kind of animated and whatnot, but almost more important is it's a survival game where you can like build and stuff. So it's basically super crazy where people will make giant towers so they can shoot somebody else if somebody is attacking them, and people are really good at this game. Once again, it has a very easy barrier to entry. Anyone can jump in and play. However, it gets really crazy with the stuff that people can do, where the skill level is just insane to watch these people react. It actually is getting constant updates, and so it's always being changed. There's always new game modes. So many just kind of like special events and stuff. Go check out some of those on YouTube, and they're just insane. It's like they had concerts. If you can imagine a giant Travis Scott that you're flying around and stuff, it's insane to have like a real concert event inside of the game, essentially. Also has Save the World, and then creative mode for your cooperative games. Fortnite's captured the hearts of millions. It's just such an energetic, fast-paced game, and I don't see it going anywhere right off. I think it's going to be something they keep updating for years. I do see it kind of getting in that same place as a competitive game with like League of Legends and Counter-Strike, and some of these ones that just are in Minecraft, even for that matter, that just never really grow old. They kind of keep going for quite a while. Unlike your one-hit wonders, if you will, that, you know, go really well for a couple of years and then fade off, or even a couple months and then fade off. I think that most of the games we're talking about here today, which is why it's focused on these, are really games that aren't going anywhere, right? These are just games that are going to stay forever. Just like the other games, once again, you're going to want to prevent cyberbullying and everything, right? So open up the game, log into their account. Let's go ahead and go to settings. Go ahead and go to the privacy and online safety, and then set the restrictions appropriate for your child. Once again, you can disable voice chat here again, and or limit it to only friends, right? So these are things that you're going to want to decide kind of where you set these restrictions and everything. Once again, make sure your child knows how to report other people, cyberbullying and whatnot, and definitely make sure that they are. Because online, it's the only way to solve these things. It's a lot different than in person because people hide behind their anonymity online. All right, what is Roblox? Roblox is a huge game, kind of like Minecraft in a way. It looks a lot like Minecraft. However, instead of building things, you can build games inside of Roblox, which is why it kind of deserves its own video, because each of the different games can essentially have its own good things and bad things. Now, the biggest risk to Roblox has always been Robux, because that allows you to buy stuff, and the problem is people do things to try to entice kids into getting Robux, right? They'll offer contests for information, or they'll make them think that they can get some free by going to some website. And so Robux are great, but also create a problem, right? Now you can actually make selling games and items for Robux, and then you can turn that into real money. So it's actually something that people really do for a living. They make games inside of Roblox. Roblox covers so many themes and genres, from, I think, completely educational and appropriate for all your kids. They can build stuff, lots of easy, fun games in there, to actual shooters built inside of Roblox. So like I said, this is one of those ones that can have a huge variation, but at least the company does allow you to set some different restrictions and stuff like that for your kids, and they are encouraging it to be very much a child-driven place. However, adults play there too. So if you're going to have somebody who's building a game, a lot of the time they might be an adult, and then you have a child playing the game, and so it does create some kind of weird dynamics. So for this one, I definitely recommend like you play it with your kids as well, but you might need to do a little bit more talking about this one, seeing like which specific games they're playing and everything. Like I said, if you want more information about Roblox, go check out another video about it. I got a lot more comprehensive guide in there. Now, to make Roblox safer, make sure you log into your kid's account or make a new account for them, and then navigate to the settings, and once again set the age appropriate restrictions. Like I said, it's kind of a repetitive theme. You can then disable chat option or make it so that they're limited to friend zone. Same thing as all these other games. Teach them how to report abuse for anyone who's cyberbullying, right? You're gonna monitor, and like I said, you wanna monitor Roblox a little bit more than some of the other games, really, because I don't know which games they're gonna play. I don't even know which games are gonna exist, because today is going to be totally different than tomorrow as far as what games you can actually play. Most of the games we've talked about today are fairly safe. There are some things that you want to look into, especially some of the younger kids may not be able to play all those games. Here's a list of games that I think are the safest for your kids, and also going to just be great educational games, etc. They are on different platforms, some of them only on one platform like the Switch, or some of them only on like Xbox. My first game on this list that we recommend for our kids was Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, this is a family-friendly game, and it allows you to build community islands, essentially, and it promotes creativity, and, you know, it's a very kind of educational feeling game, because it is really trying to like promote cooperation, right? And so it's definitely wholesome interactions, and as far as I know, it doesn't look like there's any violence in the game, and it has a very welcoming atmosphere. So it's a lot of fun for even adults, but definitely a good entry-level game for the younger kids. Now, looping back to one of the games we already talked about, just to give a little bit more information on it, is Minecraft can be good and bad, dangerous and not, right? However, Minecraft has the educational mode, and then also Minecraft in creative mode. Now, each of those are safe environments where your kids can go be creative, they can build things and everything, and not even have to worry about cyberbullying. There's no combat, and it's all just focused on exploration and construction, right? So that's definitely one of the cooler things, is that some of these games have modes that then let you be almost perfectly safe. You know, I can't imagine a lot of bad things happening there. Just monitor what they're doing, though. The next one I think that's really safe for most kids is Scribblenauts. It's a game that really wants your kids to think. It's a problem-solving puzzle game, right? And so in this game, they're gonna have to use their brains. There's no real violence in it or anything like that, and it's really just all about creativity and problem-solving skills. The next game that I think is appropriate for almost anyone, and it's such a beautiful game, is Monument Valley. It's also a puzzle game. Got a really cool, captivating story and kind of unique game mechanics. It doesn't have any violence that I've seen, and it should be appropriate for, like I said, any ages. Now, the next one that I think is good for almost every age, is the Lego video games. Now, keep in mind this encompasses a ton of different, properties, right? Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, all these different ones. Now, I don't call it violent by any means, because anything that's violent, it's just Legos coming out of it. So if your kids can play with Legos, especially the actual figures, or they've seen a Lego movie or anything like that, like I said, it's very cartoon violence. There's nothing really like actually violent in it, so probably okay for almost every kid. Maybe the youngest ones, you want to kind of take a look and watch them, but it's also really easy for kids to play, so kids love playing this. And like I said, they have so many different kinds, like even Harry Potter's on there, Marvel superheroes, like so many different Lego games that I couldn't even keep track if I wanted to. It's basically like you're playing in the Lego. The Lego games are super family friendly, and honestly one of my favorite games to have played with my kid. Alright, the next games that are kind of in a big group are some of the most safe games for kids. You do want to check, the age of all of these, but in general, the Nintendo branded Nintendo games. So like Super Mario, Luigi's Mansion, what's the party, Mario Party. Most of these games are going to be really good for almost anyone to play. They're really good for family games and stuff like that. So check out all of the basically Nintendo games, specifically the Mario ones. I don't see any of them being really bad with violence or anything. I mean, yes, you are defeating enemies, but it's not like it's a violent situation, right? So youngest kids, maybe not, but I'm sure that you probably played Nintendo just like I did, and it's only a little bit more graphically fidelity. It's not really any more violent than that, where you just jump on things and stuff. So I don't think you're gonna have any trouble with those, but once again, it's up to you to decide for your kids, right? These are just our general kind of guidance and what we've seen with our children. A couple more games that I think are safe for just about anyone are Stardew Valley. That's basically a farming game. It's resource management, growing crops, growing animals, right? And it's very non-violent, and it's actually somewhat relaxing. Another game that I thought was kind of fun once I found out about it is Slime Rancher. It's basically what it sounds like. You're a player and you're trying to catch different slimes, raising them. They're colorful. It's like an alien planet, and basically it's just a fun game of collecting slimes instead of collecting something else, and you get to raise them essentially like Tamagotchi slimes, kind of. It focuses on your different exploration, resource management, and then problem solving and everything, and all that's done without really any violence or anything. It's, like I said, just slimes. Now, not to only have the Mario characters and Nintendo characters, but also Rayman Legends. Those games are almost always good for kids. They're really pretty, just graphically stunning, and it really encourages usually teamwork. There's some good puzzles in there, and it's all in one of those like very unviolent situations. Another one that's really good is Overcooked. Overcooked is super friendly for almost every family. It's definitely a cooperative cooking game, so you go to different kitchens, face different challenges and everything, all in like a family setting. So definitely a cool game, a little bit different than some of your classic games. These games that we just gave you for the list are pretty much friendly for, I'd say, almost all ages. Once again, double check this stuff, make sure you're talking to your kids about them, but in the end, almost anyone can play these. And like I said, I encourage you to play these with your kids because they're essentially all non-violent. There's not anything inappropriate. They promote creativity, problem solving, teamwork, critical thinking, and they're fun. And essentially, they're some of the best games you can play with your kid if you are going to let them play games. I'd rather have you focus on some of the fun family games and just go let them play super violent games. In conclusion, I think it's really important for you to understand these games that your children are playing. You want to understand online, and you want to make sure you know how to take these safety measures. Once again, a lot of this may seem really obvious, but we grew up in a totally different era. It just wasn't the same. We are dealing with a totally different set of rules and totally different things that we don't really all know about, even if we think we do. Now, like I said, it's super important for everyone to address cyberbullying. I think it's important to, teach your child, hey, you're not being like a rat or a tattletale. I mean, yes, you're telling on people, but you're telling on people who are hiding behind anonymity, right? And so these people don't have any other way of getting caught. Nobody can see them, right? It's the only way is by the game essentially banning them. And so you need to make sure that you teach your children how to report these things, and they do report these things. And as parents, it's super important to stay updated on all these trends and everything. And so we recommend just kind of keep, watching stuff, keep subscribing to us so that we can give you more of these guides. And in the end, let's be more educated. Let's help our children have more fun. Let's have more fun ourselves. And That way we don't have to worry about this stuff as much. By the time they're grown up to be adults or teenagers, they're going to have a good understanding of the online presence. They're going to know how to handle cyberbullying, right? These are things that you need to start early with them. Please like, subscribe.
Thank you very much.